No more favors for the few, opportunity for all. That is our motto.
The website Politico called him the life of the party. Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan took on the role of Speaker last week in an effort to unify his party. As we've discussed in recent weeks, Ryan will be trying a remake of the role of Speaker, but what does it mean for his political career to become the face of Congress, which is at just about a 13% approval rating in the Real Clear Politics average? We're asking ABC political analyst Rick Klein, who's in Washington. Rick, it's good to have you back on the program. Let's talk about the honeymoon period for Speaker Ryan. How long can we expect that to last?
A job like this, you get a very short honeymoon. Now, Speaker Boehner, on his way out the door, gave Speaker Ryan a huge gift, which is budget peace for the next year and a half. They won't have to worry about shutdown showdowns and debt ceilings and the rest. But the fact is that on policy matters, Speaker Ryan is going to have every one of the problems of Speaker Boehner. He's going to have a little bit more leeway because of the way he's come in and the potential to unite the party. But those fractured and fractious forces inside the Republican Party will be just as active and just as eager to take down the establishment if they feel they aren't being represented.
How challenging is it for him, Rick, to find what he has referred to as common ground? In other words, doing some things with Democrats, but yet maintaining strong support within his own party?
Listening to his speech as he accepted the gavel for the first time, I was struck that when he talks about the committee process and bipartisanship, that's like running for student council and promising a better prom and longer recess. Of course, everyone in the room loves to hear that, but it's really hard to do in practice, particularly the pleas of bipartisanship. This is a tightly divided country, a tightly divided Congress. We're in a political season. The next year will be all about the 2016 election. During that time, to try to allow for Democrats to have voices will cut against his own majority on the Republican side and against a lot of his political instincts. So I think one thing he can do is to allow the committees to work their will, because as a creature of the committee process, he knows that that's where Democrat and Republican voices all get heard. There are multiple votes that come up. To allow things to bubble up like that organically would make a big difference. But the fact is the Speaker has to make political choices, has to decide pluses and minuses, has to decide how much to actually take the input of the minority, and I've never seen a Speaker be successful in appeasing a minority without being seen as empowering that minority to essentially take over the Congress.
Rick, Paul Ryan is 45 years old. What does this job mean for his political future and the possibility that someday he might want to run for president?
Paul Ryan knows the history, and there's been only one Speaker of the House who's ever ascended to the presidency. You have to go back to the 19th century to find it. But Paul Ryan may be different. We haven't had a Speaker this young in 150 years. Let's say he does the job for 5, 6, 7, 10 years even. He still will be plenty young to even sit out a couple election cycles and then run on a national ticket. So I don't think that this closes the door to presidential ambitions. This has not been a good launching pad, and if you're the face of an institution that has around a 10% approval rating, that is not good for your brand in general. But he is young enough that he could have a second, third, or even fourth act after this job is done, depending on where it leads, depending on how it's viewed, depending on how the majority is held. I still think that Paul Ryan has a bright political future.
So his youth really works to his advantage here.
Yeah, this is a breath of fresh air for a lot of members of Congress. You hear from Republicans and Democrats alike, if anyone can do it, it's Paul Ryan. The man and the moment all met together. I haven't seen that happen in quite some time in Washington, where there's this just consensus. He's the guy to lead a party out of the wilderness. And it's a party that has got a lot of problems, but a lot of things going for it. And it's still a strong majority that he's going to hope to preserve and potentially build upon. And if he's able to do some of these things that the hope and expectations surround him about, I think he could go down as a very successful Speaker, in which case you never know what happens next.
ABC News political director Rick Klein, we appreciate your time today. Thanks very much for being with us.
Hey, thank you, Mike.
And our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, has a roundup of the national coverage of Paul Ryan. You'll find it on their website, WisPolitics.com. Coming up next, could 2016 be the year of the brokered convention?